All right, ladies and gents, it's your boy Shinobazu. I know, a long time no see, right? It's been a while, I'll admit, but I'm back for now. I'm actually at Anime Expo 2016 this year, having a good time with a bunch of my friends. And although I wanted to do like a whole recap video of my whole experience, I kind of just wanted to dish on you guys about how the con is, if it's worth it. I know a lot of friends who've gone in the past aren't going anymore, and some people have just kind of said they feel like it's been going downhill over the last few years. Admittedly, last year was my first year. I thought it was an experience, but admittedly, it wasn't the greatest experience. For the amount of money I had to spend to get down here, it was really expensive for both the room, the ticket, and food while I was here. And I pretty much spent 90% of my time waiting in line somewhere. It's probably not actually accurate. It's probably more closer to 50, but it's still just the fact that like everything I did was waiting in lines. I was told that the only way to beat that was to get a premiere pass, which is what I did this year. So I got a premiere badge, which was like $390 basic. It was like $388 and something cents. So I got a premiere pass to see if it was worth it, and I'll let you guys know if it is. So join me in my Anime Expo in review with Shino Bazu. Anyway, honestly, I don't have like a super like agenda or like a script written or anything for this. So for the most part, honestly, I'm just gonna sit down with you guys, talk about the panels I went to, talk about my experience, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and just go from there. All right. If you guys have any questions, I want to leave your thoughts on Anime Expo. Feel free to do so in the comments below. All right, let's get to it. All right. So first things first. I have to talk about it. The line just to get into this event. Now, luckily for me, I guess if you when you get a premiere badge, they mail you your badge, so you don't have to wait in line to get your badge at the start of the con, which is a good thing, you think, except for the fact that nobody seems to know, at least on staff or outside during day one, where you're supposed to go if you have a badge. I pretty much had my badge around my neck the entire time, and I kept asking them, "Hey, I've already got my badge. Where do I go?" And literally, there were so many lines. The lines were so crazy and so atrocious. They literally sent me to every which spot to get through this con. Like legitimately, like I was in the line to get my badge, even though I already had my badge. But even though I did already have my badge, I wasn't gonna get a baggie or I wasn't gonna get a pamphlet or a booklet. And I had to wait in this line. Then I got in this line, and a bunch of people told me I'm not supposed to be in this line and moved me to this line. Then a bunch of people told me that this line was capped and I had to get out of this line, which made no sense because it was a line to get into the place. How do you cap a line to get your badge? Doesn't make any sense to me, but for whatever reason, that's what they decided to do. I realized that, there's a lot going on, and from what I've been told, there's like upwards of 99,000 individual users or individual attendees last year. So I get there's a lot of people, but at the same time, this is like your guys' 11th year doing this. If it's really this confusing, get really big signs or at least get people who know what they're doing outside so they can show people where to go. I get the average congoer just kind of wandering around because they don't know what they're doing. But at the same time, you guys know what you're doing. Hell, people paid you guys $90 to know what you're doing because that's how much it is for a regular 4-day pass. Let these people know where to go so they can get their badge. Let these people who have their badge know where they can go so they can get in. It doesn't make sense for there to be 10 different lines and no one to know where a line goes, even the people who are supposed to be in charge. I had a bunch of friends who ran into the same issue where they're put in lines and kicked out of lines. And literally, I know without fail, you end up spending 2 extra hours outside just sitting there waiting to get into the con. Again, I understand, but at the same time, it's kind of unforgivable, guys. Come on, get your stuff together. Next, once you got into the venue, I mean, the place is packed. This is to be expected. It's a big con. Again, like almost 100,000 attendees, so there's gonna be a lot of people there. But it just seems like there's a lot of hurry up and wait, which is really frustrating. The people herding you in to rush somewhere and then having you just sit there and then herding you somewhere else just doesn't make any sense. And honestly, one of the biggest issues is it's just so congested. Partially because everyone's got their cosplay and everyone wants to stop and take photos, which is cool. But at the same time, there's just nothing going on early. So it's like no rooms are, you let people in at 11, but nothing's open. There's no panels ready for people to go to. There's just nothing for people to do. So a bunch of people, you make everyone wait. You rush a bunch of people in, and then everything's still closed to them unless you have a premiere badge. So it's like, what was the even purpose of having everybody get in there so fast? Really doesn't make any sense, guys. Come on. So once I finally got into the con, the first thing I went to was the Premier Lounge because apparently that was the spot to be. Plus, it was also why I didn't get a baggie or a pamphlet or any of that. Apparently, I have to go all the way inside there just to pick it up, which is nice, I guess, except for the fact that it's literally on the opposite side of the con where they're letting us in. So I had to basically get into the con, then literally walk clear across the other side, where I could even get a booklet to explain what the hell was going on. Luckily, admittedly, they had this nice little guide app, which I'm kind of going through right now, so I can actually see what I went through and kind of log what I was doing. And it's a nice little app. You can go in, download the con, you get to see all the panels and everything that's coming up. You can book things you want to go, and you can even have it set reminders for certain times when you're going to be there. It'll give you a map, and it'll even let you know if you're going to something, if it conflicts with something else you're already going to, which was nice. Don't get me wrong, it was nice, but didn't really help because the app kept crashing on me all the time. So it's like, yeah, it's nice. I can use the app to try to figure out where I'm going, but literally crashed like every 2 times I opened it up. It took forever to load, and when it did load, like every 4 or 5 times it would crash, which made no sense to me. Like, come on. Again, guys, this is not your first con. This is not your 10th con. This is like your 11th con. You had your 10-year anniversary already. Get it together. Come on. This is basic technology, man. We're in the future. We've got Ubers and Lyfts and Postmates and all sorts of other stuff. Facebook, Twitter. There's no reason why you guys shouldn't have your guidebook app if you don't have your own independent app by this point. So anyway, I got the Premier Lounge, got my stuff. They gave us a poster, gave us a bag. They made me do this whole long thing where I showed them my ID just to sign in. And it's a nice little spot. I'll give it that. Like, it had a bunch of little round tables for everyone to sit at. You could plug in your phones at like a multiple outlet thing, so you could plug in your phones to charge them. The one super cool thing I guess about this was there was a little booth there. You got like complimentary like Coke, Pepsi, or Coke, Sprite, Diet Coke, and water. You got as many as you wanted, but you can only take one at a time, which I kind of get the one at a time to make sure people aren't grabbing a bunch and taking them out to their friends. But at the same time, paid $300 to be here. If I want a water and a Sprite at the same time, hook me up, man. Don't make me come back up here twice. I literally have to go like, yo, can I get a Sprite? Sit down, stand back up, walk up. Yo, can I get a water? Like, they really made me do that when it really just didn't seem necessary. But at least they were super helpful, and it's a really chill room. Like, it was kind of, compared to the rest of the con, that spot was always kind of not so much completely quiet, but calm, collected. Everyone's just relaxing there. There's not the hustle and bustle and, like, frankly, aroma of conventions that are normally in, like, those closed areas. So that was really nice. I will give them that. The Premier Lounge, good look. Maybe put some things there for entertainment though. Maybe like a movie. I don't know, something like give us a reason. I get it's nice to have somewhere to come relax, but give us a reason to want to come in there too. Maybe have like a special Q&A or something. Like have a reason to want the Premier fans to come through and hang out in their spot. You know what I mean? Get to know each other. Just saying. The first panel I was gonna go to was What's New from Yen Press. I don't know anything about them. I guess they're a manga page. It was really the first panel that seemed worth mentioning. Um, wasn't too much going on. I ended up bumping into one of my friends, so I didn't end up going down there. Instead of going to the Yen Press panel, I decided to check out the exhibitors hall, which was huge. It's nice. They got the artist alley out of there, which I'm kind of sad about. And they put the artist alley basically in the basement. So, like, you've got the exhibitors hall up high, and you've got the artist alley down low. I haven't even been to the artist alley yet, to be honest. It's just because it's been so far away and it's hard to get down there. That's a story for another time. But all in all, it was huge, but it had the same issue it has literally every year, which I don't know what they can do about it. I don't know if there's anything they can do about it, but there's just too many people. I get it. It's a big con, but you can't literally. It's cool that you've got all these cool knickknacks and stuff to show off and all these major booths there, but I literally couldn't get anything. Like, I walked in with my friend and, like, literally it was like we were pretty much just being herded. We couldn't actually stop and look at anything or check anything out because there's just too many people in the way. It was just too damn congested at, like, all times. The only hours it's not congested, I'm assuming, is when they let Premiere fans in early, which I wasn't able to do because they couldn't tell me how to get into the damn place. And then the only other time is like right before the closing, which they're still busy. They're just busy forcing everybody out. I don't know what they can do about it, but at the end of the day, it's like it's not even worth going to the exhibitor hall. I can't actually stop and look at anything, make a reasonable purchase unless I know what I'm going for, which isn't why you go to buy something from a con. You go to find stuff, not just know what you're looking for. Otherwise, it'd be on Amazon. Unless I know what I'm going for, I just happen to be lucky enough to stop at a booth that looks cool long enough for me to breathe without someone elbowing me in the face. I didn't get to see much, but it is what it is. The next panel I went to was a basically private premiere only panel. It was a special guest, the voice actor from Warwick and Dandy, the voice actor from Warwick from Gangster and Dandy from Space Dandy. He came in. They had him like a whole little special event. It was premiere guys only, so it was a small line and it was a pretty tight knit crowd. Only problem I had with this panel was one, there was one of those no filming and no like photo photography or whatever. So literally, you couldn't even have your cell phone out to like look at text messages or they'd kick you out of the panel. Which, in situations when it's like a screening or something like that, I understand. But it's like literally, it was just this guy talking. We made some jokes about the gangster dub, and then it just devolved into a regular Q&A. Which, no offense, as much as I love Q&As, traditional Q&As sometimes can be pretty dry. They go pretty quick from like interesting questions to like, what does this character think about this character, or can you do this character's voice and make them say this, which is all well and nice and funny at times, but it's just, I don't know, it's not really what I get into at the very least. But it quickly became that, and the fact that we weren't allowed to record during that, or I like weren't allowed to record, weren't allowed to have our phones out, and they were really sticklers on it. Like I pulled out my phone to look at my guide to see what I was going to next, and they told me like, yo, I have to go outside if I'm gonna be on my phone. Like, if you want me not on my phone, give me an interesting panel. Do something that's going to entertain me, please. But yeah, it was cool. The actor's name, I'm probably gonna butcher this, was Junichi Suwabe. Suwabe. Hopefully I got that right. Or hopefully it doesn't kill me for it. Whatever. Either way, it wasn't too bad. It was kind of fun, but it quickly got dry. And honestly, like I was there, sat around for a bit, then I made my leave. And flex. So the next panel, the next panel I ended up going to was actually the Aniplex panel, their industry panel. I like really going to industry panels. Usually get the scoop on what's going on, new animes coming up, stuff like that. Usually it's not too much earlier. Pretty much when they announce it on the panel, they announce it online. Usually like simultaneously, so you're just getting it to see it first with a room full of people. You're not really getting the inside scoop like at Comic Con or something. But it seemed pretty cool, except for they spent majority of the panel one trying to hype people up, which if you have to try to hype people up, it's not really, people should come in and be hyped. And then they're showing off a bunch of the shows. They're showing off Erase, they're showing off Fate Stay Night, Sword Art Online, so many other stuff, which is all really cool, well and nice, but it just kind of, it grew stale super fast. And like as I was sitting in the panel, I saw a tweet out from Gigic or Anime Zone saying that there was going to be an anime creators YouTube meetup. So I didn't really know what that meant. Didn't really know what it was, but I was like, this is boring, and that sounds fun. So I booked it over there. We ended up meeting up at the entertainment hall actually. So after that, I went immediately over there to where the anime YouTubers were quote unquote meeting up. And it was actually pretty cool. There was a lot of people there, a lot of people I had never seen, a bunch of guys I had seen. Gigic was there, Holden was there from Holden's Reviews. Mother's Basement was there, which was hilarious because did not know how tall that guy was. Like he's literally like 6'6". He's like a foot. He has like a clean foot on me, a little bit less, but still super tall. Cool guy, by the way. They all seemed really chill, and it was kind of like, meet and greet. Everyone was swapping contacts, swapping cards, which was pretty cool. I liked it. I enjoyed it. If I had to say there was any downside, it was kind of like I'm a smaller YouTuber. I'm only 120 subs, 116 right now actually. So it's kind of like wasn't too much meet and greet. It was a lot of like crowding around, holding and Gigic and letting them speak. And then whenever they were done talking, we'd split off in our little pods, and I'd meet new people. I met the anime collector, who's actually seems like a pretty cool guy. I met the guys behind the Anime Summit podcast, and one of the female anime YouTubers I met, Miscellaneous was her name. Super cute gal, super cool girl too. But just hearing different anime YouTubers, what they're into, what got them into YouTube, and what they're planning on doing with their channels, seemed pretty cool. Hopefully, maybe we'll get some collaborations out of it and have some fun. My honest goal is just to make some new friends. So that's what I went there for. I had a good time meeting everybody. And then after that, a couple jokes were made that Jimmy couldn't make it. And I was like, hey, you guys are going to go out to eat. Jimmy's not here. You kind of need a token black guy. Mind if I tag along? And I pretty much just kind of invited myself to like the little high-end anime YouTubers after party. So Ended up going out, having some drinks and some laughs with Mother's Basement, Gig, Holden, and the rest of the gang. And it was a lot of fun. I spent most of my time trying to kick it with the Anime Summit guy because I'm like, me and you are around the same sub count, so I know you'll be cool with me. The rest of these guys probably haven't even heard of my channel, so I'm gonna kick it with you, and then maybe we'll make some friends from there. But it was fun. We had some drinks, had some food, some great French fries, by the way, at a little bar around the corner from the con, and I ended up spending the next 3 hours there, so I ended up missing a little bit of the con for that, but totally worth it. If you have a chance to hang out with some people you look up to, regardless of what field they're in, highly recommend you do it, even if you're missing a con for it. So, once I finally got back to the Anime Expo, first thing I did is I beelined it straight over to the Toonami panel. Again, industry panels are probably my favorite panels to go to. Usually you get the most insight shy of like going to a digital influencer panel, because I don't know, Toonami is a big part of my past, big part of a lot of people's past and how they got into anime. So kind of knowing what's going on with the company, what they're up to, and what's their plans is always a really cool idea, and it's always something I just want to be a part of it. Even though, again, like I said, anything they announce there, I'm sure they'll announce on Twitter literally as they're announcing it in the room. But it's always nice to be there first, to hear it first. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, went in there, got a cool Toonami shirt when I walked in. I'm not wearing it right now. I should be. I ended up wearing it that day, so I'm not wearing it now. But walked in there, got a cool shirt, and then just sat down and had a good time. The Toonami panel opened up really strong. First big announcement, the guys from Toonami walked out and was like, hey, we just want to let you guys know, big announcement, 2 weeks, One Punch Man, dubbed on Toonami. Let's go. Played the trailer, everybody got super hyped. Admittedly, I was a little iffy on Saitama's voice, but all in all, the trailer was One Punch Man. It's hard not to be hyped when One Punch Man's going on. They had the trailer, they had the music going. It was like doom, 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 doom. And it's like, bruh, how can you not get One Punch? How could you not be hyped? But they opened up with One Punch Man. I was actually really excited to hear that was coming to Toonami so soon. And it's literally starting in 2 weeks. So literally like before the end of the month, I can watch the dub of One Punch Man on Toonami. So more like my nephews will be watching the dub of One Punch Man, which doesn't seem too bad. We'll see how it goes though. But after that, they went into this long 15-minute video, which I'm not even complaining about, but it was a video talking about behind the scenes of Samurai Jack. They didn't show too much of what's actually happening in the show, but they showed a couple screen arts, a couple clips here, had some voiceovers. Pardon me, sorry. They had some thoughts and voiceovers from the actors working on it, the art directors working on it, how they wanted to keep the style look very much like a hand-drawn style, like art, basically traditional art style. Even though they're now using digital to do the artwork, they still want to keep it in that style. And they did touch on one thing, which I'm really happy they addressed, was what they were going to do about the voice of Aku. Aku is obviously a very central character of the Samurai Jack series, but he was also voiced by the same voice actor who played Uncle Iroh in the Avatar series, who passed away recently. So the director, or I guess the creator of the series, spoke about his thought process on whether or not he was going to do. He thought about maybe rebooting Aku's voice, but he just felt like he really liked Aku's voice, and he really liked that his voice was really important in being it, and he didn't want to do that to jar the fans of the series. So he ended up going with someone, and he admitted this himself. It's like, no one's ever going to be able to replace the original voice actor. But he ended up finding someone who did a very good impersonation. Not going to be perfect, and again, he could never replace such an amazing man, but he wanted to try to keep the same spirit of what he brought to Aku there, and so that's what I ended up going with. And all in all, meeting Samurai Jack's voice actor, black guy, super cool guy, by the way, kind of famous, you might have heard of him. But actually meeting him and not meeting him, but seeing him, getting to hear his thoughts on the series, and then just the direction they were taking the series in, was really powerful. I was actually really excited about it. Again, all in all, I enjoyed the panel. It all seemed super cool, and I don't know, I can't wait. I don't know about you guys. The rest of the Toonami panel was pretty much just, they had the people from Production IG come out. They showed us a little short for, that they let the guy who made Ghost in the Shell make. They made like a little opening or video short for Adult Swim. He got to do that. And then they also spoke about that apparently he's going to be able to do a lot, like a little mini series that's exclusively for Toonami. Not too sure what that'll be about, if it'll just be shorts, if it'll be like an actual show. Either way, it'll be cool. And then they went straight into talking about Fooly Cooly. And by straight into talking about Fooly I mean they said like next to nothing about Fooly except for, hey, come to our Fooly panel and we'll tell you so much more about Fooly. But Fooly. And that was pretty much. I'm sure they said some other things, but all I really heard was, "You like the Fooly, like, and yeah, all that goofy stuff." But hopefully, I'll get to check out that panel later and see what it was all about. But it was pretty cool, and just knowing, seeing the work Toonami be able to work with people like Production IG to make something like Fooly, I'm still excited about it. I'll be happy to see where it goes, however it ends up. After the Toonami panel, I went to the Faku Q&A panel. They brought in another digital or hentai artist from Japan. Seemed like a pretty cool guy. I only really went to the panel because last year I went to Faku's Q&A, but it was more life stories with Toshi and Maeda. If you've heard me on stream talking about that panel was great. It was a little bit of Q&A, but like he was just such a great entertainer. More of like entertainer, just more of a great person. Like he was a very entertaining person. I don't think necessarily he was being a personality. He was just being himself, and he's just naturally funny and probably just a great storyteller from working at this for so long. You know what I mean? But unfortunately, I didn't get the same thing with this year's Faku Q&A, or at least the Q&A I went to Friday night. Again, I say this again, Q&A panels aren't too bad, and admittedly, I like Faku's a bit more because people are a little bit more open with their questions. Some of them are raunchy, some of them are funny. But the people who work, only way I can really describe it is the people who seem to work in the hentai field don't really seem to have anything that seems to be off topic. There's never something they really seem to be uncomfortable talking about. And 90% of the questions aren't even something having to do with hentai. It's more just life questions, but they give you straight up answers. Like it's not like the public relation answers. Well, this is how I feel about this, or I don't want to name names. It's just pretty much, I like that, I hate that, I like big butts, I cannot lie. Stuff like that. I can't be mad at that. But one of the biggest barriers I have just with any of these panels is just I appreciate they get these people to come over from Japan, but for me personally, it's just hard to be in the moment or even be into like the conversation when someone has to talk and then someone translates. I get that they don't know English, and I'm not mad at them for it. I don't know Japanese, at least not yet. But it's just there's kind of a disconnect there when they make a joke in their phrase, and then they use the punchline, and they're waiting for the laugh, and then we've got to wait for the guy to translate, and then we've got to laugh at his punchline, and everything just doesn't feel out of sync, and it's just not natural. With the Toshi and Maeda thing, he had a translator there, but his translator was more there to convey what the question was, and then he responded in English himself. So it was like we didn't have to wait for anyone else to give us the punchline and then maybe mess up the joke because they don't know what they're doing. He was able to make his jokes, and it was, like I said, it was a lot of fun. But they're still trying, and Faku's still going out of the way to bring extra people over here. And honestly, just for like anime and Japanese industry, whether it be hentai or regular, they're just doing a lot of they're just making a lot of moves to do a lot of first. Last year, they had a really big announcement with being able to launch like their digital version of their mangas the same day as they're released in Japan. The first like ever company to do a simultaneous release of any Japanese artwork of any kind completely in its original format is a big move to them. So up to those guys for all the work you guys are doing, and I know you guys are doing more and more to put on good events, whether it be at AX or wherever you guys are at. So good on you guys, Faku. The next panel I tried to go to was Faku's second panel, which was right after that, but being held in the opposite room, called Hentai Worth Watching. Again, I got the premiere badge because I was told premiere badge means you don't have to wait in those ridiculous lines. So literally, the second panel was from one side of the room, clear across to the other side of the room. So we finished the panel. I got up, went straight to go get to their next panel. And even though I left immediately after the panel, like as the panel was ending, basically, I think I even left a few minutes before the panel ended, to be honest, I got there. And even though the Faku guys still had not left their other panel, I was told, even as a premiere member, I had showed up too late to get to the panel. I went there, I was like, yo, what's going on? Blah, blah, blah. I'm just here for the panel. It's like, oh, the premiere fans have already gotten in. We're just having to let everyone else in. I'm like, cool, well, I'm premiere, trying to get to the panel. What can I do? And there's like, well, you have to show up 15 minutes early or you can't get in. I'm like, I'm literally at the panel with these guys in another room. So telling me I have to leave their panel early in order to make it to their next panel on time or I won't get in, even though I paid for a premiere ticket. And they're like, premiere doesn't guarantee you a spot. Premiere just means you have to be 15 minutes early. You don't have to wait in the hour line. And I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous at this point. Like, I'm trying to enjoy the events that I'm at, but I'm being still, even with paying an extra, literally instead of paying $80 for my entire trip, I have to, basically, you're spending like $95 a day if you end up getting a Premiere badge. So even spending $95 a day for your event doesn't guarantee me a spot at the panels that I'm trying to go to if I show up before they start. Showed up before the people running the panel were there. But they're like, no, you've got to wait in the line. And it wasn't about waiting in the line, I guess. That really bugged me. It was just the fact that, like, I only got the pass so that I could go to these panels. And I'm being told I can't go to their next panel because I was at their last panel. Doesn't make any sense to me. It really just completely confusing to me. And it's ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. But hey, it is what it is. I ended up sneaking into the panel a little bit later just because people ended up walking up or whatever. And I really just kind of want to talk to the guys like behind it all because I'd seen the panel before. It's a Hentai Worth Watching panel. It's more of a comedy panel. Highly recommend it. Admittedly, I haven't gone to a lot of hentai panels, but from what I've heard, this is by far one of the best. And I wanted to go to see if I'd still be as much funny, if it still be as funny the second time I went as it was the first time I went. And it still was. The jokes were still good, even though I saw a lot of them coming, if you know what I mean. It was still hilarious, and I still had a blast. From what I hear and what I saw, everyone else had a blast. So it's still good fun. If you're ever in LA and Fox is doing a Hentai Worth Watching panel, go check that panel out. It's gonna be a blast. All in all, I didn't hate day one. I mean, it wasn't great. Considering all the prep that I went in, I had my ticket since November, and I'm assuming they're planning this con since before current. They're planning the next con before the current one ends. It just seems like every year the same thing that was a problem last year is a problem this year, and it's like I could expect this from smaller cons to make small incremental improvements, but you guys are boasting about having more attendees and more attendees and more attendees, and yet always understaffed, always understaffed, always understaffed, always some excuse, always some excuse. A lot of things can be fixed without even having staff there, just having a decent sign set up. I mean, no one wants to spring for a sign. Shoot, I'm sure there's probably some fans that would do it at this point, but I mean, aside from the lines, it wasn't too bad. Getting in wasn't that terrible, I guess. I just wish there was like some control. Like there just seems to be no emphasis or no not emphasis in the word I'm looking for. Can't think of the word I'm looking for, but like no focus. Another word for focus, but like no attention really being given to the user experience. There's a lot of focus and emphasis or focus or attention given to like, does this look cool? Is it flashy? Is this where everybody wants to be? Like, does it look like everybody wants to be? Less of it. I wish there was less of it looking like where everyone wanted to be, and more of it actually being where everybody wants to be. Like, does it look like an experience everybody wants? Like, does this look hype up like everybody should be here? Or is this actually so good that everybody just wants to be here? And I really just don't feel like that's what I got from day one. All in all, plus, I mean, again, the point of this badge, the point of being a Premiere fan is that you don't have to like deal with all the headaches that's supposed to come with like just getting general attendance. But I still felt a lot of it. I mean, admittedly, I got to skip a few lines, which was nice. Waiting 15 minutes 15 minutes inside the venue over an hour in the sun. I'll admit, I do appreciate that, but at the same time, it still just feels limp. Like, it feels like I honestly don't, from day one, if you asked me to pay $95 for day one again, I wouldn't do it. So, day one, if I had to give it a number score, I'd give it a 6 out of 10. I'd do it if I had nothing else to do, but there was nothing that happened on day one, really, that I really felt like I needed to be at Anime Expo for. Till next time, guys. Come back tomorrow. I'll tell you all about day 2. The good, the bad, the ugly. We'll have a great time. Until then, guys, this has been your Gaming and Anime Ninja, Shinobazu. See you guys later. Deuces.